water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the brown boy Wonder, master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the podcasting world needed him the most, he vanished. 100 years passed, and my brother and I discovered the new brown boy Wonder, an airbender named Abrar. And although his airbending skills are great, he has a lot to learn before he's ready to save anyone. But I believe Abrar can save the podcasting world.
Welcome to the Brown Boy Wonder podcast. In this rewatch series, my guest and I are going to talk about not the live action show, not the live action movie, but the animated show Avatar, The Last Airbender. Let me introduce my guest here. I am his Aang to his Sokka. Here's Skyler. Skyler, how are you doing today?
Sokka, that's how they say it in the live action M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Did they? Oh.
Yeah. Famously, they say all the names wrong in that movie.
Oh, my bad. Isn't it Osoka?
No, it's just Sokka.
Sokka. My bad. Sokka. I mean, I think I pronounced the O's more, but yeah. How you doing, man? How?
You put me in the water tribe. That's good with me.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's get right into it, man. Avatar: The Last Airbender was created by Michael DeMartio and Brian Canutio. My bad. It aired from 2005 to 2008. There are 3 seasons: water, earth, fire. Total of 61 episodes. Skyler, what made you a big fan of Avatar?
Well, I am a millennial.
Oh.
Which means I grew up with this show.
Well,
yeah, I watched the show as it was coming out when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things where it's not just a show where you're like, oh yeah, I remember that show as a kid. That's good. It's genuinely probably one of the best like animated shows meant for kids that you're able to go back. I'm able to go back and watch it like every now and again and be like, wow, they knew what they were doing in this show. And we're starting off season 1 here, and let me tell you, it only gets better.
Well, man, I like you said, I'm also a damn, I can't even say words today.
Okay.
I'm also you.
Yes.
But I did not watch the show when I was a kid. I was watching other things besides Avatar. I guess I missed out on this big phenomenon where the kids were watching.
Yeah, that's why we started this series of episodes, is because we were talking about it the other day. We were watching wrestling, and the new live action show came up, and I watched that show, and I did not like that show. And you mentioned, you're like, oh, I've never seen the original. And I was like, well, let's do it on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I think our Saul series was pretty good, so I'm like, you know what? Let's do this one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we begin, someone passed away who was really, really influential into the MAGA industry.
Not MAGA. No, not MAGA.
Oh no,
manga.
Manga. Oh my god.
No.
I am off the rails today. Manga and cartoon shows.
Yes.
Well, he's mostly known for Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. We're talking about Akira Toriyama.
Toriyama, yep.
Yeah, he passed away. I think all of us, like all the races, I think they all love Dragon Ball Z. If you're black, Hispanic, white, Asian, they all love Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball.
It's a cultural
it's a big loss.
Yeah,
Literally, it is
definitely big loss. He was 68 years old. There's kind of a problem in anime and the manga fields where all the creators and like all the workers they work so hard so constantly
Mhm.
that they overwork themselves and they get these conditions where they end up passing away young. We've seen it happen a couple times. It sucks. But yeah, big respect to Akira Toriyama. The whole world is coming together right now
Literally.
to you know give out their energy to the universe for him.
Yeah, on TikTok, I've been seeing a lot of Dragon Ball Z edits. I was like, man, these are pretty cool.
Yeah.
But all right, let's get into Avatar here. Episode 1, The Boy in the Iceberg.
Yes, sir. This episode and the next one, both directed by Dave Filoni of
Wow,
Star Wars. Isn't that crazy?
that's pretty nuts. What, it's like 2005? What was he doing besides this?
Well, I'm assuming his work directing like animated television here. When did Clone Wars start? Because that must
Um,
have helped
it's like
him snag that probably. 2008. 2008
yeah.
is when the Clone Wars show started, or his Clone Wars show. So he probably was I'm looking at his thing here now, and it says he was an animator on a bunch of shows from when we were a kid, including Kim Possible, Lilo and Stitch the series, The
Hmm.
American Dragon, Jake Long.
Wow. Yeah, he's been cooking then.
I skipped Dave the Barbarian, but
Dave Barbarian.
yeah, you don't remember that show?
I don't.
It was a Disney thing. But anyways, Avatar.
Yeah. Let me run up the little plot here for episode 1, The Boy in the Iceberg.
Yeah.
While fishing, siblings Katara and
Sokka.
Sokka, thank you, discover Aang, a young boy frozen in an iceberg after freeing him and his flying bison named Appa. They learn his identity as a airbender long though extinct, and bring
Yes.
him back into their village in the Southern Water Tribe. After witnessing the beam of lights that shot through the sky after the two broke through the ice, Zuko, the prince of the Fire Nation, tasked with finding the long lost Avatar to restore his honor, becomes intent on capturing him while playing. Well, excuse me. Aang and Katara mistakenly triggered a booby trap in a ancient Fire Nation ship, revealing Aang's whereabouts to the nearby Zuko.
Yep.
Uh,
What
yeah,
did
that's a
you
lot of.
think? What did you think of this first episode? This your first time sitting down and watching Avatar: The Last Airbender.
So it feels old school, like it came out in 2005. It reminds me
Yeah.
of those cartoons that came out during that time. But yeah, I thought this episode, this pilot was pretty good. I mean, like you discovering this kid, from the iceberg is like what Captain America in the movie. But he
Yeah.
kind of like Captain America a little bit. But
Hello.
he got all that. You got big strength, all that stuff. And he has the what? Fire, earth, water. Does he have fire powers?
Well, so the Avatar can learn to bend all four, but
Mhm.
Aang can't yet. He hasn't learned anything at this point.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, Zuko seemed he really wants to get this avatar. I don't know why,
Yes. Oh, I know
but
why.
oh yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, I was like, this guy's being a little sus. Was
Well,
this little Zuko guy?
they do mention they say at this point why, or at least within the next the episode 5 episodes we've watched, they mentioned that Zuko's been banished from his
Right.
home country. His father, who is the ruler of the Fire Nation, the Fire Lord, he kicked him out. And you may not know the details about that yet, but he kicked him out. And essentially, Zuko is like, well, the only way I can go home is if I capture the Avatar and take him to my father, and then he'll let me be prince of the Fire Nation again. And so he's
I mean,
stuck traveling the world looking for the Avatar. It's pretty lucky that like he's been out there for like 2 years, I think, at this point.
yeah.
And then it's lucky that Aang finally got unfrozen now while he's looking.
I mean, well, it's been a while then, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I thought he's like pretty determined. And Aang, when you first see him, he kind of reminds me of Stewart from Matt TV. I was like, look what I can do. Remember that's good.
Stewart from Mad TV. No.
Remember McDonald? Not Norm Macdonald, but the actor named McDonald. He's like the character he created called Stewart. Is like a big,
Look what I can do. I'm seeing it here. Yeah.
yeah. It kind of reminds me of that. It's like a child just showing off his his skill set.
Yeah. He's just having fun. He
Yeah,
just wants to be a kid and have fun.
yes,
Uh
and he's bald.
yeah. We meet all of our main characters right off the bat. Oh, well, at least for now in season one, our main characters. Aang, he's just a fun-loving kid. He wants to sled on penguins and ride big fish and have all kinds of fun. Sokka, he's a bit of a goober, but he fancies himself a warrior and he needs to protect his tribe. And Katara, she's just tired. She's
For
tired of
real.
it, and she just wants to learn how to waterbend, and she's just sick of the nonsense. But then she finds the Avatar.
He did. Um,
What characters are you finding yourself liking at the start of the show here?
so I'm not liking Aang right now. He's a little too much.
Yeah.
Sokka is. I'm feeling a little sexist vibes from him.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll that pays off in another episode. We'll talk about this episode of the
Yeah,
podcast.
I think right now Katara is the main dude or main gal for me.
She's the level-headed one. Yeah, she's the
Yeah,
one that keeps everyone going in the right path.
yeah. Well, this first episode is great. A good starter. I do have a prediction for this.
Oh,
I
let's hear it.
I so you mentioned the penguins.
Yeah.
I don't trust the penguins. I think they're going to turn back on Aang.
Oh my.
Yeah, I just don't trust them.
That's an interesting prediction. Can I say something?
Yeah.
I think once we leave, I may be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure once we leave the South Pole, we never see the penguins.
Oh, okay. Well, you sure? Like the whole show?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Uh, but I guess we'll see while we're watching. Yeah. So episode one. It's interesting. We'll see later. I don't think they ever say necessarily, but if you're thinking like, what a coincidence that Zuko, who's looking for the Avatar, just so happens to be in the North Pole, or no, South Pole, excuse me, the South Pole
South Pole, yeah.
when Aang awakens. I don't remember if they ever say anything specifically about it, but I think it's implied that it's like there's like a deep spiritual like fate has brought like them to like cross paths.
I see.
Um, they're gonna get up to some stuff against or with each other.
All right, all right. Well, I don't want to make any predictions yet, but I might have more predictions later on this episode. But I do have an interesting fact for this
Yes.
episode. So it says here, this is the only episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender to feature a different and extended opening sequence on both the television and DVD versions worldwide. The second episode features only the German television cut.
Interesting. Um, I know that this episode does have the extended thing because Katara runs down in a narration. She runs down like the whole history of the Avatar, basically, just
Mhm.
like quick rundown on how that works. And then the rest of the series, it's shortened and it's the same all the way through. but different on the DVD. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
It's different. But yeah. All right. Let's good first episode, but let's get into episode 2.
So two, which is really like a part 2 of this.
I guess so. Yeah, it is. But this one is called The Avatar Returns.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think we need to read the plot. We'll just run down what happens.
Sure.
So yeah, so they accidentally set off that flare, which alerts Zuko to come check out the village, and it's pretty funny how he's looking through his little telescope or binoculars or whatever it was, and he sees Aang running around. And he's like, "That guy's doing airbending. That's got to be the Avatar. He's got to be like 150 years old by this point."
Yeah, he's there. The funny thing is, I don't think does Zuko know that's like the whole history of the Avatar is like he's 150 years old or 100 years old.
Well,
Um,
well, he knows that the Avatar disappeared
yeah,
100 years ago. Like, he knows that the Avatar is supposed to be an airbender and that he just disappeared. So yeah, he's thinking he's gonna find an old man. I don't know how he thought he would beat a 100-year-old Avatar, but um, yeah. So when he shows up and he's like just a kid, he's like, "What the hell's going on here?"
yeah, and they've fought. No, not really fought, but I kind of Aang is kind of surrendered, right, for this one.
Yeah. So first Zuko shows up and Sokka tries to fight him, and Sokka gets his ass kicked like real fast.
Yeah,
But he gets a hit in with his boomerang, his trusty boomerang.
I like the boomerang.
It's cool. Sokka has some cool weapons. He doesn't get to use a lot of them all the time, but he's got some cool stuff.
Does he have any airbending powers?
Sokka has no bending.
Oh.
He is not a bender. Katara's a water bender and Aang's an airbender, but then Aang will be able to learn other stuff. But Sokka, throughout the whole show, he's the one guy in the team that cannot bend.
Katara in this one, she's kind of the real one because she was like, she'll leave the village for Aang, and they're like, "Nah, Katara, just stay here," while Aang is like on his own thing.
Yeah. I think Katara's just like I said, she's tired of sitting around. All she's doing is washing clothes and dealing with her sexist brother.
Yeah, what's up with that? For a cartoon show, I never expected that.
Well, it's his character arc. He's a snotty little teenager, right? And he's like in this warrior culture where all the men go off to fight and all the women stay home and take care of the village. And he's like the one, not a man, but he's like 16 or something like that. But he's like the one young man that didn't get taken off to fight with his father. So he's stuck there and he thinks he's in charge. So in his mind, he's like, men fight and women do women work. But that is paid off in our next episode that we'll talk about. It was kind of a point of contention with this live action show that they just did. One of the first things that they came out and said, where like people started to pop their eyebrows, be like, "Yeah, in the show, Sokka was pretty sexist, so we took that out." And everyone was like, "Yeah, well, he learned a lesson though. Like it's character growth. He stopped being sexist. Like that's It teaches you a lesson. If you don't talk about people who do bad things, and then like you're not learning anything. I don't know. It's strange. They cut out quite a few integral character arcs in the live action show just for the sake of
what's the point of whatever. That's just the live action show.
Yeah, that's doesn't matter here.
Later on in this episode, Aang fought Zuko in the room in a room, Aang's fighting abilities reminds me of like Rey Mysterio. He's like bouncing out of a lot of places in that room.
Yes, he's a high flyer. He's a cruiserweight.
um, of course, Katara is still learning from Warner Bending, and I think towards the end of the episode, so they kind of escape, right?
Yeah,
They're on their own ways, and at the end, Aang acting like Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. He's like, "Man, I don't want to be the Avatar."
he doesn't. He never did. In fact, we'll learn that maybe that's why. I don't remember if he said it in this one, but that's essentially why he left the Airbenders in the first place. Was they're like, "You're gonna be the Avatar," and he was like, I don't
I
wanna."
guess.
But there is one specific episode that really tells that story, and we'll get to that in a bit. But
I,
yeah, I think what this episode does best is it really highlights like, oh, this show has some fight choreography.
it does.
There's some cool stuff. The part when Aang flies over the firebender and like cuts his wrist ropes on his helmet, and then when he like takes out Zuko in the room, he like slams him into the wall and then slams him into the ceiling.
Damn.
Some good stuff, man.
Damn. Well, oh, there's one thing. So Appa, the flying bison.
Yes.
You have to say yip yip to get him
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you're riding a horse and a horse has like a verbal command, you know, like you
Like galley up.
yeah, giddy up or something.
Oh, that makes sense. I was like, yip yip.
Yeah, you gotta
You're
say yip
right.
yip.
Yip. All right. I think I think I'll get used to it later on in the episodes. I'm not
Yeah,
feeling it.
you're not feeling it. You're not feeling Appa yip yip.
No, I'm not feeling the yip yip. But maybe I will. I do have an interesting fact for this episode.
Mhm.
When Aang fights Zuko in the village, this is technically the first time he has actually had to fight or defend himself, as opposed to before the war when he just trained with the other airbenders.
Yeah, that's true. I guess. Yeah, he starts fighting now.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
interesting.
The next episode, episode 3. Episode 3. It is called the Southern Air Temple.
Yes.
I think this is one of my least favorite episodes out of these
Interesting.
5.
Interesting.
Yeah, I
Oh well,
think.
to be fair, these episodes have a lot. Like all 5 of the episodes we're talking about had a lot going on. So, but this one's pretty emotional. I think maybe on the Aang side, there's not a lot going on, but as far
Yeah,
as Zuko, there's a lot of good stuff in this one, particularly his fight with the general.
yeah, that's towards the end. But beginning of the episode, Aang was having fun with the airball arena. That
Yeah,
looks a lot of fun.
he's excited to finally like go home, check it out, uh, see what's up with the temple. But it becomes apparent very quickly that the Fire Nation got here and they killed everybody.
Yeah, Katara was acting like a big sister to Aang because she's trying to protect him from what
Yeah.
happened. Um, well, remember Lord of the Rings where Gimli visited
Yeah,
the mines of
exactly.
Moria? That's what it
Yeah,
was. That's what it was.
it's exactly what it was.
Oh man,
His
that's what I
cousin
was thinking.
Balin.
Yeah, and he screamed like ah. Anyways,
Yeah, no, that's what Aang did,
yeah,
and then he went into the
um,
Avatar state.
yeah, the statues, right?
Yeah.
So,
So whenever Aang's eyes are glowing blue, that means
mhm.
he's gone into the Avatar state, and I don't remember exactly how they describe it. I want to say it's essentially like all the knowledge of all the past avatars throughout all of history all come together at once. So like Aang is at his most powerful when his eyes are glowing blue basically.
Gotcha.
But he's also not in control. Like he's
S-
going sicko mode, but he can't control it yet.
Gotcha. It's like
He did the same thing in the episode 2 when he
he did.
did that big like water tornado thing he did.
Okay, so it's like in, I guess Goku when he became like Super Saiyan is that himself ish.
Yeah, kind of in the sense that it's his power up in a way.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
Um.
then yeah, he saw his dead teacher,
Yeah.
whose
What's
name
his
is
name?
Gyatso.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. It aged well in 2024. Um, yeah. It's fun fact. His name is Monk Gyatso, and as a kid, I thought they were calling him Monkey Atso
Hmm.
because I was stupid. But no.
Um.
Yeah, he finds his skeleton and he gets really upset, and Katara has to talk him down from the Avatar state. Very powerful emotionally. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess there wasn't like a lot of big action on Aang's side in this episode, but
Sokka was hungry pretty much this whole episode.
he was trying to eat the lemur Momo, who joins the team in this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. What's the deal with Momo? Is he like a past friend of Aang?
No, he's just so when Aang used to live here, like the two animals that were all over the temple were the bison, which Appa is the
Hmm.
last one, and then the lemurs, the flying lemurs. And it appears that Momo might be the last one, or they're highly endangered. Like I don't know. But essentially Aang came back to the temple to find like just to experience his home again. And the only thing that essentially survived of his old home is this one lemur. So he takes it as a pet.
Okay.
So now
Okay.
Momo is his pet. He's like the team mascot.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um. So that's their side of the story. But now Zuko, he
Yes.
fought his grandmaster Zhao in a it's like a
General Zhao. He showed up, and Zhao's kind of a big dickhead.
yeah.
He's a real asshole, and we haven't mentioned Uncle Iroh yet.
Right.
Um,
I like him. I
he's
actually,
great.
yeah, I forgot to mention. Yeah, I think that's my favorite character besides
He
Katara.
he will continue to be your favorite character throughout the entire show. I can almost guarantee you that.
Gotcha. Who voices him?
Mako. He's a great voice actor. He's done a lot of stuff. Right off the top of my head, because I'm stupid, the only thing I can think of say that you would recognize immediately is he was Splinter in the animated TMNT movie back in the
Oh,
day.
okay.
Um,
Gotcha.
oh, he's in Samurai Jack.
Oh, that-
He's Aku.
oh, I know what you're talking about. Okay, okay.
Um,
He's a good guy.
he's a great voice actor in a lot of stuff. He did pass away in
Oh,
like 2006, I think.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So actually, he passes away before the show is over.
Mm,
And the voice of Uncle Iroh is taken over by like his protege.
okay.
Um, that's not till like later though, way later. But yeah, Mako's a legend, and Uncle Iroh is a great character, and he will continue to be a great character. Um,
Gotcha.
we really get to see him like training Zuko here, and that pays off when in a great fight when Zuko takes down Zhao and wins, and we see that Zhao's like he's a little piss baby. He throws a little tantrum.
Yeah, I mean, aren't you supposed to be like the big master and you cry like a baby? Come on now.
Yeah, well, he thinks he's better than Zuko because Zuko's just some banished teenager, and he's a general, but he's a little piece of shit. He's gonna be like our secondary villain throughout the rest of this season. We won't see the last of him here.
Gotcha. And I think that was played by Mark Hamill.
No,
Sal? It's not?
no. Mark Hamill is in the show. You're right.
Okay.
But he does. I don't think Mark Hamill comes into like the very end of this season. I'll spoil it. He's the Fire Lord. He's Zuko's father.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Okay. Well, this episode it was more of like a it's like a slow episode for me until the end with the Zuko fight, but not my favorite episode out of these five. Um, yeah, the next one.
I have something fun to say about the character of Zhao, but it's not about this show.
Oh,
It's about both the movie and the live action show. Because in both of those things, Zhao is played by actors you know, and you'd be like, why'd they get them? Uh,
uh,
in the M Night Shyamalan movie, Zhao is played by Asif Mandvi. Is that how you say his
yeah,
name?
yeah,
Uh,
Asif Manvi.
Mr.
He,
Aziz for Spider-Man 2.
yeah, him, and he was on the Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yes.
he's a great guy.
He's great, but like as Zhao, it's really funny.
No, it does make sense.
Because all you see is like, that's the Daily Show. What's he doing here? And then in the live action show, he's played by, I'm blanking on his name, but we've talked about him before.
Is it the guy from Lost?
Yep, Ken Luang
There we go.
from Saw 1.
Yes. Oh, why is he in this show?
I'll tell you why he's in this, because he told the story about why he's in this. He said that he got a call from his agent and said, we've got an audition to be an avatar. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll do that. And then he showed up and he's like, so am I going to be blue? And they said, no, the Last Airbender. And he's like, oh, I don't know what that is.
Oh no. Well, there's the Saw connection. Oh, it always comes around.
It always comes back to Saw. It always comes back to Zep.
Oh, Zep the toilet. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, go to our Saw series where we talk about Zep's diarrhea toilet.
Ooh, boy, do we.
But all right, I have an interesting fact for this third episode. A very old Nickelodeon website separate from one commonly used on this wiki for referencing called this episode Aang Comes Home.
Aang comes home.
Inside of the Southern Air Temple. So it's kind of the same thing, but could have named it Goes Home.
Well, he did go home.
Not really.
Oh, okay. You're right.
The fourth episode, which is my favorite episode here out of these
That's
five.
a good one.
It is. It's the Warriors of
Yoshi.
Yoshi. Thank you. I was gonna say Kyoshi. Is it a Kyoshi?
It's Kyoshi.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this one we finally get the payoff to Sokka's horrible sexism.
Yeah.
Where he is humiliated and beaten by a bunch of female warriors, and he's like, "Why did I get beat by the girls?" And then they're like, "'Cause you suck." And he's like, "Oh, teach me." And then they make him wear a dress, and it brings him to the level where his dumb views are proven to be wrong to him, and he grows from that. And also, we set up a bit of a romance thing with Sokka here.
Yeah.
And this may not be the last we see of that.
Oh, okay. Because I do like Zuki, who's the main interest of Sokka.
Suki, yeah, I like her.
Yeah, I like her too. In the TV live action show, I think I've seen a lot of TikTok edits of her there's everyone has a crush on her. Like, okay, yeah, I can see
I
it.
think for the live action show, they're talking about um Avatar Kyoshi because we see her in that. We
Mhm.
haven't seen her in this yet. We just saw a statue of her, but the live action show kind of Kyoshi's like a fan favorite character. There's a book written about her and everything, like an actual novel. Um, Everyone really likes Kyoshi, so I think that show was like, well, we gotta have Kyoshi do something cool in it, so they have a bit where they show her doing stuff. So I think
Gotcha.
that's what that was. But yeah, I like the character of Suki. I like the Kyoshi Warriors. They're cool. Um, I like this episode. And Aang is trying to get Katara's attention the whole episode
Yeah,
because Aang very clearly has like a little crush on Katara.
I
And
can see
Katara
that.
does not give a shit. She's like, whatever, whatever, little kid. I don't care. And
um,
so he's finally getting attention from people, and then people are like, "Look, the Avatar, he's cool," and he's being chased by all these little girls,
yeah, he's
and
a he's a
he's
he's
getting
a little ladies' man.
he's getting his portrait taken, and the guy's like, "Oh, I gotta paint the Avatar. That's easy." And he looks and he's like, "Oh my gosh, there's girls now. I gotta add her. Oh, there's more girls," and he gets pissed and just walks away. I love that bit.
I love
Um,
that scene.
I I like. Did you like the guy who saw Aang and started foaming at the mouth and passed out? Did you like that guy?
Yeah, yeah, I didn't understand that. Like, what?
He was
Like, did he?
excited.
I mean,
This is the
that
Avatar.
yeah, but that's too that's like
No, come on.
he's from.
That's like you watching Dune 2 in theaters. Come on.
Oh, okay. If you say it, you put it in that way.
Yeah.
Now everything makes sense.
Yeah, same thing.
But yeah, you see Aang swimming, showing off. That reminds me of like Avatar, The Way of Water.
Oh, yes, sir. That's what Ken Luang thought.
Yeah. um, but yeah, I do like the Kyoshi warriors.
Yeah.
They remind me of the Amazons from Wonder Woman.
Yeah, a little bit in the sense that they're just powerful women warriors.
Yeah.
That's cool. Aang almost gets eaten by a monster called the Unagi.
Yes.
Unagi means eel, so it's a big eel.
It's a big as eel.
Ate that
But
cornmeal.
yeah,
And
he
then
does.
Zuko shows up at the end. A very a cool way of showing it, a way of like showing gossip going around the world, but it is kind of funny how they show like this little girl tells like a fisherman like, "Oh, the Avatar's here on the island," and then the fisherman like tells another guy like, "Oh, the Avatar's on Kyoshi Island," and this guy like sells the fish to someone that works on Zuko's ship, and then he's like serving the fish to Iroh, and he's like, "Oh, the Avatar's on Kyoshi Island." It's a neat way of showing that information passed throughout the world. It also makes me laugh because it's just like the fish to Iroh pipeline. Like you're just seeing the fish go
Yes.
straight to him. It's really
That's
funny.
how communication keeps going, I guess.
Yeah. And then
Um,
Zuko shows up and starts to burn down the town. And they're like, Avatar gotta go because wherever the Avatar goes, fire's gonna follow. And
yeah.
it's kind of a sad message, but we're stacking those responsibilities on Aang. He's learning.
He is learning, man. They're on the run after that, right? The after their village got on fire, the Kyoshi warriors trying to fight back.
Yeah. Well, essentially, it's like them running is the best thing they can do because Zuko only wants Aang. He doesn't want to stay and fight these really strong warriors. So by leaving, he's like saving the town.
Gotcha. But yeah, I do like this episode. That was pretty cool with the whole storyline with Sokka, Zuki,
It also
Aang.
has one of the best frames of animation in the entire show. When
Yes.
Aang first sees the Unagi in the water and it's showing him running away from it on the water. Just a really great like smear. It's funny.
I like it. I like it. But yeah, I have an interesting fact for this episode. The scene when the girls are chasing Aang is based on the Beatles film "A Hard Day's
Hard
Night."
Day's Night. Yeah, that's very, very similar.
All right, all right. All right. We're about to enter our last fifth episode for this Brown Boy Wonder Web. How do I say this? It's a what are we doing here?
Podcast.
Podcast. We're doing a podcast here. I forgot where we're at. But yeah, this rewatch series is going to end. This episode is going to end with this episode, episode 5, the King of
Omashu.
Omoshu. Thank you.
I'm here for you. I'm gonna get us through these names.
All right. So this one was interesting
Yeah.
because not a lot of things was happening.
No, it's
For the story.
It as far as you know, brand stuff happening, not really, other than introduction to a certain character.
Yeah.
What's cool about this show is like a bunch of these characters that we're meeting here and there, you can expect them to come back eventually.
Gotcha.
Like if someone seems important, it's because they are, and probably won't be the last time we see them. So, other than introducing King Boomy, not a whole lot happens. I mean, it's kind of a fun episode. I think this one gets remembered as being just like a funnier adventure.
Yeah. It's more like a filler type of an episode.
A bit, but it does end with Aang learning another lesson. That's going to be a lot of this season.
Yeah, I can tell.
They
when
totally
Aang-
butchered this in the live action show, by the way.
how do
They
they
ruined
portray
the
it?
shit out of it. Well, we'll talk about this first, and then I'll say
Okay.
what they did. First,
Uh,
I'll ask: did you see the twist coming?
No.
No, you didn't.
No, I did not.
Okay.
I was just watching it blankly. I was like, all right, this is big ass king here, trying to give him some challenges. I'm like, all right.
Yeah,
But I thought he was more like a villain.
he's a
like
bit
a side
crazy,
villain.
a bit kooky.
Yeah, when Aang entered the kingdom,
Yeah.
kind of like Albert Einstein with his
Oh, a
big,
little bit.
yeah, a little there. And also the place kind of looks like Gondor from Lord of the Rings as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the one liner here was my cabbages.
Yes, I don't know if you're aware of that meme, but the cabbage guy is a recurring joke throughout the entire show.
Oh, okay.
Often we'll go to a town or a city or a village, and he'll be there trying to do his stuff, and his cart will always get wrecked, and he will always yell, "My cabbages!"
Gotcha. Okay. That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
I'm glad they had that. I do have a question here. I wrote it down. I said,
Yes.
as a society, do we like Momo?
I do.
Okay.
Come on, he'll grow on you. You just don't like animals.
I mean, I don't like Appa. He says, "Yip." We have to say, "Yip yip."
Come
for him.
on.
I
You
don't know
better
about
learn to
Appa.
like these animals. Let me tell you.
I mean, this is the 5th episode, so I guess I'm still learning.
Yeah, you got time. As a society, do we like Momo? The answer is yes. As a society, we do.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So the king here, he's kind of an a-hole in the beginning. He kind of remind me. Well, his figure, his physical body, kind of reminds me of Master Roshi from Dragon Ball Z, but evil.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah.
Trying to
And
think of
I
I'm trying to think of a wrestling equivalent of someone who's really old but still really jacked.
Randy Orton, I guess.
He's not really old. He's only in like his 40s.
Yeah.
Trying to think cuz like obviously you could say like what like Goldberg is huge, but I'm talking about like that definition, you know.
Oh, I don't know any old guys like that. Maybe AJ Styles, like almost 50.
It's still not that old though, you know.
Yeah, you're talking about like 70s, like Ric Flair type.
Yeah, imagine if Ric Flair was this beefy.
Definitely not.
Never in his wildest dreams.
Um.
Not with all that woo energy and the wooings.
Oh no! Please not. Do not mention it here. um. But yeah. The lesson learned in this episode is I forgot. I wrote it down, but I deleted it.
It's very astute of you. It's to think outside the box.
There we go.
Every challenge he's given by the king is the answer is never obvious. I really like. I mean, obviously the main event of this episode is choose who you want to fight, and Aang chooses the king. Like, look at this old man.
Yeah.
I could take him. And then he's like, wrong answer, little boy. And he takes off the robe and he's just completely ripped. And I love what I love about Boomy is like after the fight, he puts the robe back on and he goes back to the same terrible posture. He's fooling everybody. He's not just fooling Aang. He's like, I want everyone to underestimate me.
Yeah, I guess he's. Are we gonna see him in the later episodes?
You never know.
All right.
Yes,
I'll look
probably.
out. I'll look out for Boomy.
What if Aang didn't pick to fight him?
Then
What if
he
picked one of the other guys?
then he learned his lesson.
Boomy would be like, oh well, all right.
What a waste of an episode.
I want to say something here, a little theory that I cooked up. So when we see Boomy in the flashback, he's just like a little dirty, like street grub kid.
Yeah.
He's laughing and snorting, and Aang's like, "Oh, we're getting into such mischief as children," and then now he's the king. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible that he was like a prince back then, or part of some royal bloodline, or maybe it's possible that Omashu does the Star Wars thing and they vote for their kings and queens. I doubt it.
That's a possibility.
But what I will say is my personal theory. I think Boomy led a revolt. That dude overtook Omashu. It's the only way. That's what I think. He took the law into his own hands.
Isn't he the only person at the kingdom?
What?
Is he the only person at the kingdom?
Like the only person like in charge, like the only ruling.
Yeah.
He's the king, yeah. Everyone serves him.
Well, he is the Earth Kingdom king.
Well,
but
I'll tell you this. Okay, I think I understand your question now. He's not the only king in the Earth Kingdom.
Gotcha.
There are. It's kind of like you can assume it's kind of like Westeros, where there's like a bunch of little kingdoms and the rulers of each one, but there is one big Earth capital city that we'll get to in a later season. That has like the head guy in charge of the Earth Kingdom.
Okay, well, there's that. That is season 1, 5.
The first 5 episodes.
Yeah. I think I'm starting to like it. I think after that 4th episode, I was like, all right, it's getting somewhere. I can see it.
We're starting to cook.
All right. The next episode for this rewatch series, season 1 is we're gonna do 6 through 10. I think that's the next one.
Yep.
But all right. For the people out there, Skyler, where can they find you?
You can find me at the Southern Air Temple. I'll be laying there like a skeleton, all dead.
What's his name? Gat.
Yeah, Gat. So.
All right. Well, you can find this Gat at the Boy Wonders podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, podcasts, and of course, I have an Instagram page. You can follow me there at Boy Wonders podcast. And I guess I think the only good way to end this episode or these episodes is yip yip. So on 3 is yip yip.
Yes, sir. Abrar, yip yip.
Yip.
You said on 3. I did it early.
Yeah, I know. It's
I'm not doing it again.
Okay, bye.